Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and you guys know what time it is. It's time for another Metcon or General Physical Preparedness workout. And today we just did 15 minutes continual, and I feel like I'm at a point right now where anywhere between 10 and 20 minutes, 3 times a week of my actual conditioning is enough because I'm doing so many extra just body weight exercises and grip training between my main sessions. That I can only handle so much on the recovery side. And I feel like for now this is enough that my conditioning is improving. I will obviously increase this again later, and I'll go through phases where I do more conditioning. I'll go through phases where I do a little less, but the main thing is that we do need it to be relatively constant. I do feel like as long as I'm averaging about 15 per day as far as the 3 days a week, so I'm getting a good 40 to 45 minutes of actual conditioning work every week. That should be good, considering that I get a fair amount of it on some of my speed work days, doing my step ups on my max effort squat and deadlift days, things like that. So there is a conditioning component to some of that, but the main thing is just we do need to keep my general physical preparedness up. And I'll have different points to where I mess with other stuff with it. I'll rotate things in. I feel like for now this is a nice, good, constant, just to keep my overall work capacity high, just to keep my cardiovascular health up, because this is things that we need to look at, right? Even as strength athletes, we have to be thinking in terms of our cardiovascular health, right? We can't do only strength training. And I need this to improve work capacity. But because I'm doing so many body weight exercises in between that I feel like, again, I've only got so much recovery. And I would much rather put extra work capacity into additional resistance. So it's like I'm trying to do 100 chin-ups every day. And I can tell you doing 100 chin-ups on upper body days is hard. Like today it's going to be easy because this was a Metcon day. I'm going to easily go past 100 chin-ups. And in fact, what I've been doing on some of my Metcon days, when I started doing earlier this week, is I try to do glute ham raises with it. Now, you guys are noticing I'm struggling at the top of the glute ham raise, and it's because of the little mishap yesterday and my shin not having a lot of skin on that right shin, that I'm trying not to press it against that pad, because you can see it there all bloody still. Try not to press it against that pad too hard because it's pretty uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie, it is uncomfortable. I don't like it. It hurts. So again, I don't want to put that on that dirty pad and have it press against it too much. It's not dirty. I mean, I wipe my stuff down, but that's hardly sterile, and I don't want to re-rip it open and get an infection. I need to be careful with it. So, I mean, I'm going to have to clean it just because I've risked all of that, and because I'm going to do more glute ham raises today, I'm going to have to make sure I clean it really good because it did make contact with that, and I'll probably clean it and then re-wrap it up. Main thing is just not getting an infection there. We have to think of these sort of things, unfortunately. So this ended up being just over 15 minutes. Heart rate was really, really good. Near the end, I started focusing more on just the step-ups. But again, I feel like I'm getting a good workload here. And because I'm doing probably 3 of my days now, probably 100 glute ham raises. I do 100 chin-ups every day. So if we start doing the math, that's basically 700 chin-ups and 300 glute ham raises being worked in to my normal resistance training. All right, it's being worked in. But I need it. I feel like the extra hamstring work is going to be necessary. And it's something I can do as bodyweight stuff I can recover from, and that adds to work capacity. So because I'm doing all of that, it is going to limit my ability to go all out. I can't be doing an hour and a half of Metcon every week right now. I just can't. I can't handle it in addition to all my training loads and trying to do all this bodyweight stuff. And I feel like for me, 15 minutes or so 3 times a week is enough for general conditioning. Is it going to make me the most conditioned athlete in the world? Not even close. For general purposes, for my training, it's okay for now. I did have a little while back where I was doing a little bit more. But this is also being done continuous. So if I do cycles like this where it's 15 minutes straight, it is going to start pushing upon that upper threshold. It is going to push that actual endurance component of it a little bit more. And I'll have days where I get further. I'll have days where I end up doing more. I think I did, what was it the other day? I think it was 19 minutes continuous. I could be wrong. 18, whatever it was. But it was hard. So, but even now, listen, 15 leaves me pretty winded. And, I mean, it's not to the point where I'm laying on the floor level winded, but it's definitely taxing cardiovascularly, so we're getting our benefits. And there is a small anabolic component to all of this because there's a resistance component. That's where this stuff shines. Because that's the other thing that people have asked too, how does this compare with HIIT? Well, with HIIT, you're oftentimes only working all the same muscles non-stop, and you're not necessarily getting the true resistance component. Because you take something like this, a bunch of chin-ups thrown in, okay, a bunch of push-ups thrown in. There's an actual smaller strength training and resistance training component. This is mildly hypertrophic. This can add to your total weekly training volume for your gains. Right? It does benefit. It does benefit that. So this is what we would think of as cardio that is body composition improving. And let's come over to the other point with it. We're improving our ability to clear waste products in our muscles during resistance training. And that's something I'm going to mention on all of these Metcon workouts. This will help you be a better lifter, because this can improve your ability to have work density in your training, because this can reduce recovery between sets. And that doesn't matter on your really heavy stuff, your max stuff. I'm talking about your speed work. Or in some cases, how about your sets of 10? Let's say you're doing 5x10 for an accessory movement. On a big accessory movement, let's not talk about triceps. Let's talk about overhead pressing. Okay, let's talk about an overhead press or a glute bridge. A big accessory movement. Right? If we can cut rest times down because we can recover and clear waste products faster and maintain the same workloads, right, that's going to have a really good hypertrophic benefit. That's going to help you stack muscle on in the right places from your assistance work, because you can get a better work density. Right? That's beneficial. This will help us gain strength. And it's not that you get stronger from doing this, it's the after effects. It's the fact that it helps you get in shape. And that's a point I want to stress to a lot of you powerlifters out there. A lot of you guys who don't care about your conditioning at all. That's not a good idea. Both from a health standpoint and even a gain standpoint. And you want to convince powerlifters that they need to do something. When you explain to them, hey, this could help you get stronger, now you got their attention. Right now you got their attention. Being in shape can help you get stronger because you have better work density in your training. All right. Is it massive? No. But could it be enough of a difference when you go to comp between third or second place? Very much. It might be. And then we need to think about the fact of the conditioning and for the health. Yes, we know weight training, based upon the current modern research as of last year, we know strength training improves cardiovascular health benefits more than cardio does. We know that. But let's throw in the caveat here. We know that people who do both have even better health outcomes. Okay? We know, again, let's state it again, we know based upon the research, strength training is better for your health than cardio is across the board, if you only picked one. And we know that it's slightly better for cardiovascular health based upon the research, if you only pick one. But who has the best health outcomes? People who do both. People who do both. All right, if we're powerlifting, we're usually carrying extra muscle, guys. We eat a lot of food. We carry extra muscle. We carry extra body weight. Get into shape. Okay, get into shape. It'd be in your best interest long term. And it's not going to hurt your strength. Right? It's not going to hurt your strength at all to be in better shape. Right? You're not going to get weaker for having done this. In fact, hell, it might let you eat more food. And that's something all powerlifters certainly like, the ability to eat more food. And this just raises your overall energy turnover. And keep in mind, this isn't burning calories in the way that list cardio does. This is burning calories through a mechanism that has a mild muscle building effect. All right? This can help recomposition you. And that's the other point we want to make with this. This helps recomposition you. Because here's what I would point out. If you increase your average energy turnover just from doing stuff like this by an extra 100 calories a day for the week, okay, but you eat 100 more calories with a larger impact on burning body fat and a larger impact on building muscle, you recomposition. All right, this is a valuable recompositioning tool because we are burning extra calories every week through an activity that not only helps build some muscle, but enhances recovery. Okay? And if it enhances recovery, it means we can do more training. And that's what people have to remember. This is all synergy. This is synergistic. This is all synergistic. Because if training like this allows you to recover better and it burns more calories and raises your energy turnover, and it lets you do more training because you can recover from that better, and you can eat more calories and have higher energy turnover, it just keeps raising your output. And let's look at the difference when we talk about things like NEAT in athletes versus NEAT and, say, people who just train and then they rest or they cut a lot. We know they have lower energy turnovers. And that's something I've covered before, I'll cover again. There's a reason bodybuilders tend to have lower total calorie burn on average throughout the year versus other athletes even at the same body weights. Even though the bodybuilders might have more muscle and less fat. Right? They're always cutting and they spend a lot of time resting. Right? Those two things over time reduce your overall energy output. They reduce your activity level across the board. They make you move less. All right, so getting into shape with Metcon and things will tend to allow you not only eat more food, but it'll let you just be more active. It makes you feel better. It increases your energy. It increases your total activity. Raises your NEAT. All right. Just adding stuff like this in regularly can have a downstream effect of over time possibly changing your average energy turnover 400 or 500 calories a day eventually. Every day. When we think about that in terms of body composition, because our total energy turnover and total muscle building stimulus is higher, we get a recomposition effect. And when I talk about recomposition is very hard, I don't mean it's impossible. This came up from one of my clients the other day. They're like, I thought you said before that for most people beyond certain thresholds, recomposition is almost impossible. So it's not impossible, it's just very, very difficult. Well, this is a strategy by which it becomes possible, but it's difficult. And this is what I mean by difficult. Do you know how hard it is to follow like a conjugate periodization program and do metabolic conditioning several times a week? That's not easy. It can create recomposition. I've been recomping slowly but surely, but it's happening. I mean, look at me even now. I'm not ripped, but am I leaner than I was 6 months ago? I haven't lost any weight. Let me make that clear. I have not lost a single pound of body weight versus 6 months ago when I did have a higher body fat. I haven't lost any weight. It's recomp. And that's what I'm suggesting to you guys. If you're willing to undertake endeavors like this, the concept of traditional bulking and cutting can go out the window. But it's not easy. It's easier to bulk and cut, right? It's easier to bulk and cut. You have to do less work. There's a reason that's popular. There's a reason it works. Right? Doing stuff like this is harder. But it allows us to recomposition. It allows us to gain strength while gaining muscle, while potentially slowly losing body fat over time. And we know we have studies that athletes, when they look at athletes, there are plenty of studies that show advanced athletes recomp. And I think that's always shocked people because we know it's hard to do. But if you think about it, how many athletes are in really good shape and have general physical preparedness as part of their training? Plenty of them. So when they go into a serious strength training program on maintenance calories, we have studies showing they've recomposition. You know, it's usually like college athletes and things, right? Who are even going through drug testing at the time. So we see that. We see that in the sports world. There's clearly studies that have looked at it. But you have to think about how much GPP and stuff most college athletes are doing. So it makes sense that when they kick up their strength training, they can recomp at maintenance calories. Because they're in shape and they're doing stuff like this. It does matter a lot, guys. It matters tremendously. And this is not the easy way. It's not a shortcut. This is not like, oh, a biohack where I just take a pill. No, this is the hard way. It is harder. It takes more effort. But it does let you do those things. It's just that it's, as I point out, this is not the easy way out. It does take work. It's harder, but it will work. It'll work. You can recomposition doing stuff like this if you structure everything right. And you're willing to eat the right foods, you're willing to eat it, the protein and the vegetables and everything that you need to eat to recover. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.